Okay, so what is this process? So the first thing is picking your topic. If you have a freedom to pick anything, then, think about what are things that interest you and what are things that would suit themselves to an academic research paper. I think that's one of the big mistakes that a lot of students make when they have the ability to choose their own topics. They're choosing things that can be researched, but they're not necessarily things that have a lot of academic credible research for them to use. And so they're not good for this assignment. So again, in this assignment, as you've already seen, if you've watched the video about the assignment, you have the first prompt that allows you to kind of pick your own topic. And then I've given you a lot of other prompts that have focused in on particular topics in case you just can't think of anything. So if you're choosing your own, again, think about it needs to be something that can be broken down into categories, and it needs to be something that you can find credible research on. So again, look at the prompts that I've given you as guides or just to find something to write about. The next thing you do is what we call the initial research and brainstorming. So it's really important that once you choose a topic, how do you know if there's credible research? Well, you got to go out and do research. This is really before you're ready to write the paper. It's just going out and double checking that this is a viable topic for the assignment. And so brainstorming is really important to think about how many things do I already know about this that I might be able to classify and divide it into. But then going out and research and saying, is this something that actually can be classified and divided? You want to then work on your thesis development as part of the research process. Remember that this class has a very specific thesis formula that you must meet to get the points for the thesis. You have to have your topic that you're classifying. You've got to have your argument about why this needs to be done, and then you need to have your 3 reasons or your 3 classification categories. So you can see the example here, the gig economy. So there's our topic. What are we going to say about it? It offers flexibility and autonomy, but it has some problems that might hurt workers, right? So it doesn't have traditional benefits, it has unpredictable income, and it has potential for exploitation. So this essay can either then categorize the problems this way, or it can look at 3 primary gig economy groups and how they all rank in terms of how they provide benefits, how the income is it stable or not, and are they exploited. Right. So again, like all essay assignments, there's some nuances in what you can choose to follow the pattern, either classify the problems or classify the things that you're talking about. You're next going to then create that basic outline to organize your thoughts and research. And this might be a preliminary outline to what you're sending to me, because again, at this point, you got to make sure that you've got enough information to actually write the paper on this topic. The next thing is you're looking at in-depth research and note-taking. So again, you had the preliminary research. Now you got your working thesis. You know you've got a topic that's going to work. So now you're going to find the sources that you need to use. And so here's where we're going to use the trap test. And I'm going to talk about the trap test in more detail in a little bit. I've got a couple of examples to show you how you might use it. So the trap test stands for 5 things: timeliness, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. And what you want to do is you want to evaluate every source you're looking at to see how well it scores on this test. Because you want to trap the bad research and put it aside, right? You want to only have good research. So timeliness basically is, when was this published? When was this data gathered? Because some things, if you're writing about health, medical, social issues, or science, you probably don't want to use anything that's much older than 5 years. Now, again, that's just, there's always an asterisk by that, because you might be looking at the history of something. You might be classifying the major eras since in the last 15 years of technological advance, right? So you might need to go back farther than that. But again, you have to say, is this information recent enough to be good for this paper? Relevance is, how directly relevant is it to my information? Am I talking about something that's only marginally related? It's about something, but not really what I'm talking about. So again, is it relevant? Another thing to think about, is it relevant to the reader? So we need to make sure we're choosing sources that not only do the job for us, but are also things that the reader is going to find accessible and relevant. So sometimes it's, well, okay, this is a fine source, but it's not really relevant to my reader's situation. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you're looking at a problem in Oklahoma and you found a source that talks about the same problem but in California. You have to ask yourself, is the situation similar enough in California to what's going on in Oklahoma that what they did, the problems that they faced, the solutions that they found are really relevant to Oklahoma readers? I mean, California is huge. They have so many more resources and they also have so many more problems than probably we do in Oklahoma. So if they're trying to tackle an issue, they might have $3 billion to try to fix this thing. Here in Oklahoma, we might have 3 million. So it's not relevant because we can't begin to even match the scope that California had in terms of resources. So this is what you have to consider when you're looking at information. Authority is, like we've already talked about, who wrote this, who published it, what are their credentials, why should we be listening to them? Accuracy is about, is the information that they're giving me correct? Where are they getting the information? Who are they citing from? Are they not giving me any backup evidence? So I'm having to take their word for it, right? You'd be surprised at how often people lie in publishing, right? Or on TV. Politicians are really bad about this. They're giving us data, but is that data actually good? Is it accurate? The last thing is purpose. Why are they publishing this? Do they have an agenda? Are they trying to manipulate us? Is there a bias, a prejudice here? Because again, you might have timeliness, relevance, authority, and accuracy, but if they're putting it out there in order to promote some kind of horrible agenda like Nazis or something, then you don't want to use that source. That's poison. The next thing is, again, take detailed notes, including where you're quoting from, what is a quote, make sure you're putting quotation marks around it, where did you find the statistics, that kind of thing. You might like the method of using note cards, where you have a note card, and one note card is just the works cited information for that source. And then you have a quote card, and that's like any quotes that you want to use from it, you're going to put those on there with a page number where they come from, right? Then you might have a paraphrase or summary or something like that. This is old school. This is the way I was taught to do it in Comp 2, and I hated it. I hate note cards. I'm more likely to just type it into a document or write it into a notebook. But it is important that you take notes so that, first of all, it keeps you from accidentally plagiarizing, that you end up using information and you forgot that you got it from a source. The second thing is it helps you track where you got that information. There's nothing worse than putting something in a paper and you forgot where you got it from and you can't find that source anymore. So it's really important that you keep good notes. I would also say keep a folder of research, that if you're using something from the internet, print it out, staple it, put it in your folder, because you don't want to like, oh my gosh, where did I find that website? I forgot to bookmark it, right? Also, especially if you're taking a class where the teacher might challenge your research, like they think maybe that you made it up. If you've got a hard copy of that article, you can either give it to the teacher if it's a face-to-face class, or you can take a screenshot and send it to them. No, here's the document, I printed it off, right? So again, it's really important that you have some system. Remember again to record the source of information for proper citation. 5, creating the evaluative works cited assignment. So this is the next step of this research cycle that isn't necessarily going to be part of every research cycle. Actually, most of the time in Comp 2, you're going to be doing what's called an annotated bibliography. This is kind of like the more formal version of what I'm having you do here. And I decided, because, this is crunch time, that this would be easier and quicker to do and still have you do the skills that's in an annotated bib, but it doesn't take as long. So again, you're going to find those 5 reliable sources. You're going to make a works cited page, and then you're going to have a page that basically has you use the trap test to evaluate them. Again, you can see the guidelines on the evaluated works cited assignment plus an example to show you how to do that. Now you're going to start actually drafting your paper. Again, at this point, you're going to create that outline. You're going to submit it to me for feedback, and it's the same outline that we've used. Audience, purpose, thesis, 3 topic sentences. And instead of conclusion, I've changed the topic to reader reaction, because I think some people hear conclusion and they think what you're saying in the conclusion. So now it's now reader reaction. What do you want the reader to do with what you're giving them? And again, we're not doing anything different in terms of the basic structure of the paper. Introduction, 3 body paragraphs, conclusion. Those different parts in your essay are going to be the same. The only thing different is our mode of organizing our information is now classification and division. That's chapter 12 in your textbook. You can read about it there to get more information on that. But again, you're just picking the categories that something falls into. I've got another video about doing the essay itself, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in there. Of course, then you're going to revise and edit, get that feedback from tutor.com, and you're going to submit it. So that's basically your research process. Additional tips here: if you have access to a library, take advantage of that library. With your SSC student ID, you can actually get into other college libraries like Linscheid at East Central. So if you live closer to Ada than you do Seminole. Right now, our library is under revamping. And so I'm not even sure if it's open for students to use right now, because they're having to do a lot of redoing. We've hired a new librarian, and they're going in and really changing it up. So you might not be able to actually use our library. You also don't want to use a public library. Public libraries do not usually carry a lot of academic sources, unless it's like maybe a huge library like Oklahoma City's main library, like the one downtown, not a branch library. But again, usually you need to go to a college. So your ID can get you into OBU's library, should be able to get you into Rose State or OU's library, can also get you into Ada's library. I'm not sure where all of you live. Obviously, if you do not live in Oklahoma, then I don't think it would work there. It really is if they're a member of the OneNet system here in Oklahoma. But you could call ahead and say, yes, I'm a student SSC. I have my ID. Am I allowed to come in and use resources? Some of them will even let you check out things as well. So look at those college resources. Check in with the resource librarian if you're having a hard time finding sources, and ask for their help as well. Time management is crucial. Create a research schedule and stay on track and meet deadlines as much as possible. Obviously, life gets in the way, things happen, and we have to adjust. But you want to make sure you do have a schedule. You have penciled in when those hard deadlines are, and then you're saying, okay, I've got to get this done by this time to meet those deadlines. And then ask questions. Don't hesitate to reach out to me for clarification or help. Right? And remember, it's a process of discovery. If you choose something that you're really interested in, that you find fascinating, then research can be really fun. You'll be amazed and startled, and sometimes maybe a bit off-put at what you find is the truth about issues. Okay.